Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And good afternoon some more. Um, or greetings, Clover greetings. Whenever you get to watch this video. And this video is for volunteers, for parents, as well as for 4-H youth. And I will be dropping a couple of short videos, tutorial videos, something that people can go back and review to get an understanding. So today, our first video is going to be on record books. So let me share my screen. See if I did this right this time. No, bad thing. It's like over here on this computer. And I don't want to turn my camera because back over that way, hot messness. You don't want to see all that. Get something to drink. Let's dive in. So, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the benefits because I understand that some people don't understand why we still do record books in 4-H or the way we do them with the printed out copies. But I'll talk a little bit more. So let's get into this video. So let's play the question game. Adults, answer me this. What records do you keep in this day and age? What records do you keep? Let's just think about that. My next question for you is, have you delegated the responsibility to someone else? Have you delegated the responsibility to someone else? And then my final question is, well, with that one, how are they doing? How are they doing with that record keeping? And then my final question is, do you track/collect data? Now, let's go back up and look at what records do you keep? Do you have a checking account, a savings account? Do you have investments? And you think of a time when maybe your skills weren't so good in terms of keeping track of your checking accounts and, well, let me just say banking accounts, and you got that NSF, not because there was not funds there, but because we didn't update, we didn't keep track, we didn't look um, to see what was going on. And you say, well, I get my bank statements once a month. Well, you might glance over that once a month, but you might need some right now information. And right now information would have helped you not go NSS if you understood what is pending because it hasn't shown up yet. And so yeah. And then your business transactions. If you run a business, if you're self-employed and you run a business, what records are kept? And have you found yourself in an awkward situation because your data was not current, up to date, because the records weren't kept? And then, like I said, have you delegated the responsibility to someone else? And what was your reasoning behind that? So looking at your personal life, was it just like, oh, they can keep the records because I don't want to do it. Or they say, I'll keep the records because, I've just been doing that. But the question is, how have they been doing? What is their skill set? And did you avoid doing the record keeping for the family because you hadn't built that skill set? And then let's talk about tracking or collecting data. So what is awesome, I don't have it on today, but your Fitbit collects data. It lets you know how many steps you've gotten in, and in the simplicity of it. But the more advanced you can get into collecting data to know how well you're doing, like consuming water, and so even with that marvelous app of that comes with the Fitbit, and I'm not pushing the product. Let me go ahead and say that. Just using it as an example. There's certain places where you actually have to enter in data, like the numbers of hours you slept, the amount of water that you've consumed. Um, you have to initially set it up. So if you're wondering why your cute is savvy, but your Fitbit's not working, because maybe you just hadn't put in the data. So for it to record keep, and as well as the daily inputs that you have to put into the system. And what was your reasoning behind getting one? My thought is for you to improve the quality of your health and well-being. So just little things to think about, okay? So I got you. I got you. Okay. So what we're going to look at next is the score sheet. And this is the record book score sheet that's used for all record books. And any record book that has been turned in after it has been judged by an outside judge who understands youth and where youth are by their age range, they look at this rubric and they determine the scores based on the descriptions. So I always leave the score sheet in there. Now, why do you think I do that? Because it allows for review. Having a standard of excellence, not perfection, but a standard of excellence, meaning I want to continue to grow my skills, my abilities, my talents, my knowledge, and rightly apply my knowledge, because the saying is knowledge is power, but the truth is applied knowledge with wisdom is power. And so if you just throw these somewhere, I don't even know where you put them. Now, some really good families have a box, and I'll talk to you all about that a little bit later. So they know where to look for their information. To review with the youth to see what areas of improvement that they can make. And the thing is that they can make it if they choose to make it. And so the rubric, the score sheet is there for you to review with your youth, with your club members, so that they can have achieve a higher standard in if they're pushing for a blue ribbon. What does it take to have a blue ribbon? And the thing is you need to be looking at this now, not in August of next year. Not in August of next year. You should be looking at this now so that you will have a game plan on what you want to achieve. So the thing is, the saying is, you will always go where you go if you've never set a plan, because it doesn't matter. You just wander. I'll get there, wherever there is. But those that know about setting and establishing plans, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about later in another video, knows when you have intentional plans, then you will make intentional progress. So it's there on the screen. Review it. Have that conversation. If there's something that you don't understand, you need clarity on, then you can talk to myself or your club leader. That's something that is very important. So my next question for both the youth, the parents or guardians, the club leader, and I'm sorry to tell you, I'm not going to remember. So who will remember? Who will remember? If you have done 10 full years, and if you started at 8, some people have done 13, yes, because you can start at 5 as a clover bud. But in the 8th year is when you can submit things to get judged as a 4-H junior. So when you're 4-H age 8, you can submit things to get judged. So I started at 8. Here I am, I'm 18, and I'm about to graduate. And so I have three areas, just three areas up here. I could have put more, but of course I'm trying to make this short. So let's look at awards and scholarships. Let's talk about that. So where you gonna pull your data from? Let's go back to the Fitbit app. So yes, it may automatically track your walking, um, but that's all it can tell you. And I think you can put it in when you go to sleep. If you have the more advanced ones, some of them have a little bit more things that they will self collect. But then there's still some places where you have to enter the data. So where are you going to pull the data from? I didn't turn in any record books in, or if I did it as just because I had to do it, but I did not do it at my standard of excellence that I put into my schoolwork and that I put into me practicing for football, basketball, baseball, um, for robotics competitions. Just want to throw those out there for a fashion um, show or my talent. I did not put the standard of excellence in as I progressed and my skill levels and my knowledge and my ability to comprehend expanded as I got older. So I didn't do a good record book, or I didn't turn in a record book at all. Or if I turned in a record book, it was really nothing in the record book. So where are you going to get that information? How will you know? Especially my really, really smart youth and parents that have really smart youth. So those before you will tell you have to submit applications, which I have next. So you have to submit applications for scholarships, for awards, and it needs to be very competitive. So who's going to remember all the things that you have done inside of 4-H and outside of 4-H? Who's going to remember all that? And then next, let's talk about applications. So there's an area where it talks about, and my next video will be on the components of a record book, because basically all record books have these components. Doesn't matter the subject matter area. But who is going to remember your volunteer hours, your services? Who's going to remember all that? You're going to apply for a job, and you have been a volunteer camp counselor, um, for day camps, for 4-H day camps, even for the 4-H residential program. And you've done that for a span of years. And the application, you put your application in because this application is required. And still, it's off somewhere. You don't even know where it is. So, how to fill out a quality application? It's not with fluff and buff, because people do check you out. They want to know, did you really have those experiences? So having your documentations, knowing what the roles were, and sometimes they do change over the years, having those role descriptions for that volunteer service. I just use that. And then again, going back to awards and scholarships, when you fill out those applications, who's going to remember? And then is there an app for that? At one time, I sent out a testing to a specific group that usually turns in a large amount of record books, just to see how it would work out on your phone. Because our youth, they're into technology. So yeah, as awesome as it is, even though some places were like, you've gone somewhere and you get a little message, how was XYZ? You still have to put in input. So even if there was an app for that, which I believe even in the near future, a lot of record books will be electronic. There will be an app for that. But guess what? You have to fill it out. You have to put the input in it. You have to complete it. And so being a good record keeper is very important. So again, who's going to remember? Let me look down at my little notes. So quality record keeping is they skills growth, and that should be possessive. So I'll fix that before I post it up. Skills growth only happens through experiences. And experiences in terms of record keeping, capturing data, you are monitoring if you have, let's use poultry because, or rabbits, and you're into production. Having your initial data, knowing the information, having it stored in a place where you can find it so that you can track your production because you plan to sell rabbits for other people that show, or you plan to sell the rabbits for people who like to consume rabbit meat or chicken or their eggs. Somebody asks you, how did you do? I don't know. Are you in the red or are you in the black? Oh no. So quality record keeping is very important. And again, those skills skills, that means the ability to do something, to demonstrate something, only grow through experiences. So keep that in mind. So the more you do it, even if you don't like it, the better you will become at it. Become with that specific skill area. So capturing data, being able to write a good story. Again, I'll talk about the components of a record book, and I'll leave that there. So let's keep going. Record keeping, of course, is one of those things that we don't outgrow. We don't outgrow it. Matter of fact, that you get older, there's lots more very serious things that we have to track and keep up with, whether we use technology or not. We have to keep up with that. So if I know this is a skill that I am not going to outgrow, then for sure, I'm going to make sure my child is submitting a quality record book that is worth the time of a person who's going to judge that record book. And we talk about, let's say, go here. So, and I'll be able to pull for later use. Recorded history. History created for later use. Reminder that we can and have the evidence. And so this is part of things I've talked about in the past about having a praise box as well as a place where you can go and find information that you'll need down the line. And so every youth in every family should have a praise box. It could be a little storage box where you put everything that they have done. And on those days when they, especially in 4-H, that's why I like it's evidence. It's evidence based. You learn by doing. You get the experience so that okay, I've had this experience wherever the outcome may have been, that the next time I have that experience, these are the things I'm going to do so that that experience will be even better. That is actually should be your natural logical process, um, versus just throwing it on the back burner and just pushing through and not having what you need. But what 4-H creates is evidence. It's to learn by doing. So it's when we say you can, no matter what your level may have been, you can. You know that you can. So you should have one of those. And then recognition opportunities. There are opportunities for recognition in 4-H. There are specific scholarships. There's specific trips that you can earn, but you have to have a solid packet. And we'll talk about the portfolio in another video by itself so that it will be short. So even as I talk through, and you say, well, you didn't mention these like in between. I did. I might not have said it like this. So remember, skills require experiences for them to grow. Keeping records is something that we never outgrow. We don't outgrow it. It's a recorded history created for later use, especially for our youth who will be putting in applications to go to college or to the junior college or to a trade school, or to enter the workforce. What skills and abilities that you have learned that are transferable? How about teamwork? But having a demonstration of that and writing that up, the ability to mentor someone. A lot of youth, when I read their stories, especially my older 4-H youth, they talk about mentoring. They might not use the word mentoring, but they talk about helping our younger youth to understand the project or to build their skills. So that's something that's very important. And of course, for that moments when they don't feel like they can, you can let's go to the praise box. If you don't have the evidence, because you didn't keep it, you didn't think to keep those things, that they participated in this program, they got this award from this program, they got acknowledged in this, and you just put it all in their praise box. Things for 4-H or things outside of 4-H, they can go back and they can remember. They see the evidence. And then recognition opportunities. So that being said, I hope you don't have, well, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. But I hope you better understand. I didn't pull the research, and I could pull the research about the benefits of record keeping, but this is simple for you to understand. So let this year be an extraordinary year for high quality record books, because in the end, it benefits your family, your child, for whatever they choose to go forward into doing. And I want to say that there was a very successful businesswoman, and I remember listening to her story, and she was talking about her experience when she was in 4-H, and that for her, that discipline, that ability to push through, because they did dairy. So for my livestock people, yeah, I know y'all got excited. They did um, dairy, and she was out in the Midwest, and she talked about the things that she learned. But the other thing that she kept a praise box, and so she had all her ribbons, and and her record books and all those kind of things, and she was a grown woman, and that she pulled out not just for nostalgia, but it was a reminder, so that even in her adult life, when she faced challenge, those were her reminders that she can. So, and then another successful person said that faintest ink, the faintest ink, the faintest ink is better than the greatest memory. So just wanted to share that with you. All right. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, did I not give you all the? Oh. So for my volunteers, here, this is your code phrase. There are benefits to record keeping in 4-H. There are benefits to record keeping in 4-H. Have a great day.